still processing. Tonight, a guy friend of mine yelled at me to shut the fuck up and let him talk. And this is a nice guy, right? I could have this, I'll probably have another video between nice and kind. But I was absolutely shocked. We were talking about the T app, and I could tell it was coming from a very emotional place and projections from his part, and I was just sharing the women experience and why something like the T app exists. 10% goes to the National Domestic Violence Hotline, and he was arguing how for men, you know, if a woman doesn't like a man, he can easily slander him and things like that. And I was explaining to him, yes, that's the case, but you can compare that to women survivors who go to court, and the court is usually not on the side of survivors. And so we already have so many things that aren't on our side. And so when we have an app, I'm stumbling around my words because I'm still like processing. I don't do well with men who react that way from my history. And so,
type of chick so
but the app was created for women to support women. You could put green flags on there, you could put red flags, but it felt like he didn't hear anything I was saying. And
all right, so let's just pause there for a second. First of all, fellas, three things. Number one, you always, under all circumstances, maintain frame. Never get out of frame, regardless of whether or not you are right or you are wrong. You just gonna have to make the adjustments and get the fuck out of there. Which leads me to point number two. Get the fuck out of there. Why are you hanging with feminists? I had the pleasure of actually going through this woman's profile and seeing exactly who she was. And in her profile, which I'll leave in the description of this video, as I always like to give credit, it says feminism, matriarchy. So you the nice guy that's playing nice, and now you're going to look stupid. Number three, and this is one of the main points before we get back to the video. The app was created by a man for capitalistic purposes, not to give you guys a voice. Idiots. That's why the app was created. It literally is owned by men, by a man, in order to take advantage of women like this that lean into their feminist ways in order to try to justify the fact that a woman can say anything about a man and then be able to get away with it. So, what is she talking about? That's your fault. Whoever this guy is, this is your fault for being a nice guy, for getting put in the friend zone. Not realizing that at the first opportunity, they're not going to forgive you. They're not going to see you as a nice guy. They're going to get on these apps. They're going to talk about you. They're going to use you as a punching bag. You out there with women that you're not busting down, that clearly identifies themselves as feminists, probably paying for the majority, if not all of the bill at dinner or game night or whatever it is that they doing, and now you the sucker. Let this be a lesson for all guys. Again, I never advocate for getting out of frame, especially in person, right? Never get out of frame, but here's the real key. Never put yourself in the position to have to get out of frame in the first place with women that don't really like you. Y'all are hanging around with women that don't like you, that speak to other women, and the first thing that they're going to say is, see, they're all like this. See, the mask came off. See, this is what we have to deal with as women. See, the courts don't care about women, and men are the ones that get away with domestic abuse and violence against women. And it's all a narrative in order for them to be able to scissor kick each other and to be laying down with each other and doing everything except for God's will with each other and getting out of pocket so that they can ultimately find a simp that say, oh, queen, you beautiful, grand rising, how's everything going with you? And then so he could be the step crash dummy, and then they can use him as a punching bag in a future video so that they can continue to monetize and make a fool out of y'all. When are y'all going to realize that this is not going to benefit you? At no point was this ever going to work out for dude. But he decided to be the fool, and now he's the person that's going to be on the internet that she's talking about. She probably made this just so he can see it, so she can softly and calmly, I don't do well. I have to make sure that I compose myself and hold myself together so I can ultimately lean into my femininity to tell you this story about toxic masculinity. You dummy, you a fool.
Sharing how there's potential slander versus women's safety, right? Domestic violence. Men are the apex predator for women, and most of unaliving comes from men against their partners. And so it kind of even proved a point. And also the point of I was just debating, sharing my part, and it was getting him very frustrated to the point where he's an impassioned person, right? But then it tipped over and he yelled at me and said, shut up. And the girls that were there, one girl stepped away and then the other girl was sitting, and they were shocked too.
So you hanging out with a bunch of chicks that you're not even busting down, debating feminist talking points with women that you don't even agree with. This is cuck behavior, ladies and gentlemen. This is cuck behavior.
I don't know how to process it in
With fives.
terms of it being a guy friend. He did catch himself and then he apologized and
Why is she talking so
apologized again. But it's when you go over the edge and that happens, it's not okay. And this is why emotional regulation is really important. And I'm proud of myself to tell him I didn't freeze. My past self would have frozen. I immediately said, that is not okay. You need to step back, cool down. I don't think we should have this conversation anymore. He didn't.
So now she's taking control. She's empowered. You need to step back, cool down, and not have this conversation anymore. And he's supposed to go, you know what? You're right. Let me take a step back. I recognize your feelings and your triggers. And I'm oh man, this is crazy, bro.
Step back, and he just paused. And then he continued with the conversation on a calmer note. So that wasn't truly boundary honoring. It is really,
Boundary
I'm
honoring?
just still processing this.
What is boundary honoring?
A guy friend. When guy friends are the guys that have been teaching me and showing me that it is a safe place. Yet,
Friend zone, trying to bust it down for a real one, and you never was gonna get the box in the first place, and now you looking like a fool, and she probably gonna put you on the T app.
this stuff happened. And it just full circle makes the point, which he was not listening to. So it adds to men not listening to women, why women are threatened by men, and why there's fear and emotional regulation, saying that women are more emotional.
Let this be a lesson to all of you suckers out there. Stay out of pocket. Stop hanging out with people that don't even go in the direction that you're trying to go in. Stop being the friend zone cuck that is always trying to substantiate women's feelings, and start standing in your masculinity and get up out of here in the first place. Always stay in frame. Always stay in frame. That is a rule. That is a regulation. You could take your stuff out in the gym. You can go and figure it out. You can go and buy yourself, whatever it is. Always maintain frame. Again, always like to link back to the content creator to give credit regardless of whether I agree or not. Make sure you guys tap into the Patreon. Link is in the description. Teach Henley, 40% off your first order, 20% off for life. I love you. I appreciate you. Show me what y'all got inside of the comments and let me know what y'all got to say.